The question of the rights of victims in criminal cases on the statewide ballot is stirring a lot of mixed emotions. The Cat's Pajamas Clothing Exchange received the last of its items today and is ready for the residents tomorrow.
And in sports, an Ohio coach who resigned yesterday because of death threats published a statement today. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Next week's statewide ballot is topped off by a question about crime and the rights of victims. If passed, Marcys Law would put certain victims' rights in the state constitution. Good evening, I'm Jacob Solleather. Thanks for joining us. Marcys Law originated in California after a young woman was killed and has made its way onto the November ballot in Ohio. As WOUB's Brooke Davis explains, this law would provide crime victims with specific rights in addition to Ohio's Victim Identification Notification Service that is used to update victims on their offender status.
As the Director of Community Justice in Athens County, Becky Filer works with crime victims, helping them understand their rights.
I think this is really important.
For the past 4 years, Becky has worked exclusively with victims of sexual assault, providing information and support as their cases go through the criminal justice system. But from her perspective, that system often overlooks the rights of crime victims.
I think oftentimes victims' rights are quickly overlooked, and people are very concerned about the rights of an accused. But a victim at the end of the day did not ask for this to happen to them, and I think it's really important that they are heard and seen as much or as little as they wish to be in the process.
Marcys Law would do just that. If passed, it would allow victims' attorneys to file a motion in court if they feel their rights have been ignored. Some of these rights include being treated with fairness and respect, being notified in a timely manner of major proceedings and developments in the case, to be heard upon request at any proceeding, receive restitution from the offender, the return of property when it is no longer needed as evidence, and to be informed of these rights. Marcys Law includes a clause on enforceability so that if a victim of crime feels that any of their rights have been violated, they can sue the judge for not upholding their rights and may be compensated. Now, Marcys Law would be in addition to the Ohio's victim notification system like this. You can see this email was sent through the Vine service to a victim telling them that the offender has been transferred to a different jail. Allie is the Director of Victim Assistance in Athens County and uses this system daily in her line of work.
It is an automated system, so if someone is incarcerated at a jail or ultimately going to be incarcerated in prison serving their sentence, we can register that victim's phone number for a phone call or a text message notification or an email. So if the offender's custody transfers or if they're released from custody, they are notified almost in real time when that happens.
According to Ohio's public defender Tim Young, the Vine system is doing what it's supposed to do. He feels Marcys Law isn't needed in Ohio because it is intended for states that don't have any kind of victim notification system in place. He says Ohio does not have this problem. Ohio law requires prosecutors to notify victims when a defendant is arrested or eligible for pretrial release. In 1998, Ohio implemented one of the nation's first automated victim notification system, which offers victims information 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But for people in favor of Marcys Law, they say it's not just about the notification, it's about giving victims a voice.
It's just going to give victims a little more emphasis to be able to use those rights if for some reason a court per se isn't, honoring the rights as they stand now. And then they would be kind of put them almost at the same level as an offender's rights.
Critics of Issue 1 question the extent of the legal rights the victim would gain if the issue passes. Former Executive Director of the Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association, John Murphy, says he's concerned the amendment would give victims legal standing in criminal cases.
This is a criminal prosecution against the defendant. We have to protect all the defendant's rights. The victim should be heard as they are under current law and receive notice and all of the protections that we already have written in the law, but to actually be a party to the case is completely inappropriate.
Voting begins on Tuesday, November 7th. For more information on Issue 1 and voting times, visit our website at woub.org. The Ohio House Committee is discussing a new bill to exempt college textbooks from sale taxes. A fiscal analysis shows that taxes on textbooks combine for more than $30 million a year. College students spend around $30 on in-state taxes for every $500 they spend on textbooks. Lawmakers say it would be a step forward, making college more affordable. Philanthropy Ohio, a nonprofit organization, reports Ohio ranks the 5th worst in the country for college affordability.
I'm really happy if that happens because I know my professors in my classes make me buy multiple books, more than one, and I know that's the same for all of my friends, so it will really cut down the costs that we have to pay for books, so in the end it will just benefit all the students, I think.
Well, considering that Ohio is one of the most expensive places to go to college, reducing taxes on college textbooks would help personally me and other students who go to Ohio University.
Athens residents are dropping off gently used clothing items at the Arts West building for the upcoming Cat's Pajamas clothing exchange. For the second year in a row, there will be a fall exchange in addition to the one that took place in the spring. The autumn clothing exchange will be held tomorrow through Saturday. Event organizer Emily Beveridge says the exchange is a more fun atmosphere than a regular thrift store.
And I also think the atmosphere of the event is different than going to a Goodwill or to another thrift store in that you're amongst a huge amount of community members. We play music, and I think that the atmosphere tends to be just a little bit more lively and happy.
Entry into the clothing exchange is $15. The money raised will benefit Arts West.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Nimmo. We had a rainy one today, but good news, that should be tapering off into the night tonight and early morning. It should be looking pretty clear, but right now we are at 46 degrees. Winds are calm at 1 mile per hour. The dew point's at 44 degrees. We're getting close to that dew point. Humidity, very high, 94%. Around the region, we are in the 40s. New Lexington, 43, 46 in Athens, 49 Marietta. So we're in those 40s, but as we look at the next couple of hours, those temperatures are going to rise. 7 o'clock, it's going to be 47 degrees, cloudy. 8 p.m., we're going up to 48, but by 9 p.m., it's 50 degrees, mostly cloudy. And as we continue throughout the night, those temperatures are going to rise and into the early morning. Tomorrow, it's going to continue to rise throughout the day, and we will get more on that when we have the full weather forecast. But back to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Taylor. A local high school football coach resigned yesterday after receiving death threats from the community. Former Middletown High School coach Angel Kay said in a statement today that community threats after losing 18 games in the past 2 seasons were too much for his staff and family. Angel Kay's letter states winning and losing at the high school level should not be life-threatening situation or sports anchor. Our sports anchor will have more on this later in the show. Police in Ohio announced the arrest of a suspect yesterday in the murder of a school teacher in Strongsville last week. 20-year-old Jeffrey William Scullin Jr. is in custody for the murder of 49-year-old Melinda Pleskovic, his future mother-in-law. Authorities say Scullin reported the discovery of Pleskovic's dead body. According to the medical examiner, she had been stabbed and shot. Police say they believe Scullin was living with Pleskovic at the time.
Jeffrey William Scullin Jr. is believed to be the fiancé of the victim's daughter, and it was reported that he had been living in the home of the victim.
Scullin is behind bars on $1 million bail. Police are continuing to investigate the man who drove a truck onto a New York City bike path that killed 8 and injured dozens. While President Trump is making big moves to ensure this doesn't happen again, these stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming. It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
The man authorities say is responsible for the attack on innocent pedestrians in New York City is now facing federal charges. That information was just announced in a press conference about an hour ago. Authorities are now saying 29-year-old Sayfulo Saipov acted alone and they are no longer looking for a second suspect. CNN's Omar Jimenez has the rest of the story.
This was the actions of a depraved coward.
Investigators say the suspect in the New York terror attack planned his deadly ride for a number of weeks and was inspired online by ISIS.
He appears to have followed almost exactly to a T the instructions that ISIS has put out in its social media channels before.
Police say he used a rented truck to plow into people on a bike path. He crashed into a school bus before being shot in the stomach by an NYPD officer and taken into custody.
I started walking in that direction to see what's going on, and I just see all types of police, firefighters, EMS just rushing to that area.
5 of the people killed were from Argentina, celebrating their 30th high school reunion. Another victim was from Belgium.
It was the definition of terrorism, an effort to take away people's hope and spirit and to make them change.
This is the deadliest terror attack in New York since 9/11, and it ended in the shadow of the World Trade Center.
My message to all New Yorkers is do what you do best. Be New Yorkers. Be strong, be proud, be resilient. Show the whole world right now that we will not be moved by terror.
In New York, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Some senators are calling on President Trump to intervene in the investigation of yesterday's attack. Senator Lindsey Graham is asking Trump to hold the suspect, who the feds say was inspired by ISIS videos he watched on his cell phone, as an enemy combatant. That would mean Saipov could be questioned without access to an attorney. Because Graham says such a move is necessary, Trump says he's making another big move in the wake of the attack.
All I can say is the war is coming to our backyard. It is here. The enemy has a recruiting technique to radicalize people within our country. There's going to be more of this, not less. And the more information we can find about how these guys get to where they are, the better off we are. And the less we criminalize the war, the safer we'll be.
I am today starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. I'm going to ask Congress to immediately initiate work to get rid of this program.
Reports from New York's ABC 7 said the alleged attacker had come to the U.S. from Uzbekistan under the State Department program. Despite the attack, the popular New York City Halloween parade went on as scheduled last night. The 44th annual Village Halloween parade welcomed thousands. Many parade goers said they would not let the attack hold them back, but city officials amped up security. They increased police presence and secured barriers along the parade route. Amazon announced new technology that could move online shopping toward augmented reality, and just in time for Black Friday shopping. That story still ahead.
And the light rain we've been seeing will taper off in the region overnight as far as a lifting front to warm things up in the next couple of days. Next on Newswatch. But first, let's take a look at stocks of local interest.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Nimmo. We certainly had a rainy start to November, but good news, it's going to start to warm up a little bit. But let's take a look around the region first. 49 degrees in Marietta, 43 in New Lexington, 45 in Newark. We're hanging out in the 40s all around the region, but it's going to rise overnight, so it's not going to be hanging on to these cold temperatures for too much longer. But let's take a look. Right now we're at 46 degrees. The humidity is high, 94%. Dew point 44 degrees. The almanac for today, high of 50, low of 46. The typical for today, high of 65, low of 46. So we're not too much off, but a little bit below that. And our records, 2009, 80 degrees for the high and 12 degrees in 1988. I'm sure glad that it's not 12 degrees right now. But let's take a look at tonight. The low is actually 46. We're not going to be seeing the temperatures drop at all. It's actually going to rise overnight with a lifting warm front that is headed our way. It's going to warm things up for the rest of the week. It's going to be mostly clear tonight. We do still have a slight chance of rain, but we shouldn't see too much rain, maybe a light drizzle, if anything. Overnight lows tonight, we will see temperatures all around the 40s in the region, pretty similar to right now. It's not going to change too much. But as we head tomorrow morning, 53 degrees around 8 a.m. tomorrow. It will be a little chilly, but it's much nicer than we have been seeing the past couple of days. That rain we've been seeing is also clearing out. It should be dry tomorrow morning, but you might want to pack the umbrella just in case we do see a little bit of light showers still tapering into the day tomorrow, but we should be good to go. As our day moves on tomorrow, at noon, we're hitting 60 degrees, and it's going to be sunny. The chance of precipitation is just going to decrease throughout the day. 4 p.m., 0% chance and 66 degrees and sunny. Once you're getting home from work or school, it's going to be really nice. Maybe take that chance to go outside. Might be one of the last chances before things start to, cool down for the winter months. So it's going to look really nice tomorrow. The highs, we're 68 degrees in Athens. It's going to reach the upper 60s all around the region, even 70 in Ironton. So it's looking pretty nice tomorrow. But as we look forward to the weekend and the rest of your week in the extended forecast, we're seeing those higher temperatures continuing throughout the week. 71 on Sunday. It's going to be pretty nice. Slight chance of rain, but not too much. As we look at the weekend, we do have some chances of showers in the morning on Saturday. Saturday is not going to be too great, but as you look at Sunday, it's going to be pretty nice. That will be sunny. Not too much chance of rain, Jacob. It's looking like it will be a pretty good day on Sunday. Might want to bring the rain jacket on Saturday.
Have you ever wanted to see how a piece of furniture would look in your home before purchasing it? Well, you will soon have the opportunity with augmented reality. Amazon introduced an augmented reality feature to the app, which allows consumers to online shop for home decor and virtually overlay the items onto their living spaces to see how they fit. One Ohio University student who studies this technology describes how this works and its benefits.
You would mean that you would be able to, if you had something that you wanted to buy online, but you didn't know how it would look in your house or maybe on yourself, then you could use augmented reality to place the object in the real world to see potentially how it would look.
This is the first time a major online retail has announced the use of this kind of technology for Black Friday shopping.
Good evening, I'm Connor Mills. It was a cold day for local sports yesterday, but that did not stop the Bobcats from laying on the heat against arch rival Miami of Ohio. Also last night, an LA win gives us the best 2 words in sports, Game 7. We will have all this and more when we return. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Connor Mills. In a nationally televised game last night, the Ohio Bobcats hosted the Miami of Ohio Redhawks in Mid-American Conference action. It may have been cold, but Nathan Rourke was hot all night long. Ohio started the game with the ball, and it did not take long for Rourke's impact to be felt. Stringing together a 9-play, 75-yard drive, he put the Bobcats up 7-0. After an interception from Hagan, it took Ohio 2 plays and 2 throws to go up by 14. The Redhawks would not stay down as they battled their way to tie it at 14. Ohio retook the lead before trading touchdowns near the end of the first half, bringing the score to 28-21. Miami of Ohio went for 10 plays and 95 yards to bring the score even at 28 near the beginning of the second quarter. 2 minutes after the Bobcats regained the lead and would not look back. Rourke would add 2 more touchdowns before a field goal to bring the final score to 45-28. Nathan Rourke finished with 294 passing yards and accounted for all 6 touchdowns. Ohio is now 11-2 under Frank Solich against Miami. With Nathan Rourke's 3 rushing touchdowns, he now has 16 on the season and holds Ohio's single-season quarterback rushing touchdown record. He currently is 3 behind the all-time rushing record held by Hall of Fame running back Calvin McRae. Early in our show, we mentioned Coach Lance Engelke resigned due to death threats from his community. Middletown lost 18 games over the past 2 seasons. The coach resigned because of the amount of death threats he received online that were directed at him, his staff, and his family. Joe Cox, a former Middletown high school football player, offers his opinion.
It's pretty bothersome to hear that the community is ultimately what drives out the coaches in that way. We haven't gave a coach enough time, in my opinion, for them to build up the program.
The team's only win in 2 seasons was 10 days ago over Oak Hills. A 48-0 loss to Fairfield closed out the season last Friday. Now to baseball. The World Series went back to Dodger Stadium last night for a crucial Game 6. Los Angeles was facing elimination and things looked bleak early on when George Springer gave the Astros an early 1-0 lead with a home run off of Rich Hill in the 3rd inning. But the Dodgers would rally back. In the bottom of the 6th, Chris Taylor placed Austin Barnes on an RBI double off of Justin Verlander, tying the game at 1. The Dodgers took the lead 1 batter later on a Corey Seager sac fly, and Jock Peterson hit a home run the next inning to give LA a 3-1 lead. Kenley Jansen sealed the deal with a perfect 8th and 9th inning, including 3 strikeouts. It's winner-take-all tonight for the first Game 7 in Dodger Stadium history. Yu Darvish is starting for the Dodgers against Lance McCullers Jr. of the Astros. First pitch at 8 o'clock. NCAA basketball is right around the corner, and the AP preseason poll was released today. Duke took the top spot with Michigan State, Arizona, Kansas, and Kentucky rounding out the top 5. The only Ohio college in the top 25 is Cincinnati, coming in at number 12. Dayton also received 5 votes. In the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a rough start to the season. Currently sitting at 3-4, the Cavs are 10th in the Eastern Conference and are on a 3-game losing streak. Tonight, they welcome the 4-3 Indiana Pacers, who beat the Sacramento Kings last night and are on a 2-game winning streak. Tip-off tonight is at 7. I'm Connor Mills. That's it for sports. Back to you, Jacob.
A boy with cerebral palsy doesn't let his disability get in the way of trick-or-treating. 13-year-old Mekhi Hall from Middletown, Ohio, can't walk or talk, so instead he incorporates his wheelchair into his Halloween costume. In previous years, Hall dressed as comic book superheroes, but this year he was a real-life superhero dressing as a police officer. His wheelchair became his cop car, complete with lights and sirens, and Middletown police even provided him with a uniform. Now let's send it over to Taylor for our last weather breakdown.
Thanks, Jacob. Let's take a final look at our weather forecast for the week. Now, the temperatures might be looking pretty nice, but we are having a lot of rain chances this week. Saturday and Sunday Friday and Saturday, we will be seeing some rain, but Sunday should look okay. Let's take a look at the weekend. We have some morning showers on Saturday. We're going to have some chances of thunderstorms at night, but on Sunday, things are looking nice, 71 degrees and sunny. It's looking like an okay weekend ahead, Jacob.
Thanks, Taylor. That weather's looking pretty nice. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Jacob Solleather. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.